Good morning and welcome to the Glide to the Finish podcast. Today we're going to talk about how to use functional strength training to support your running. This is really important because so many runners stop running because of injuries, and paying attention to functional fitness is a way to help prevent injury and keep you on the road. My name is Joy Lackey. I'm a running coach and I help new runners learn to enjoy running and reach their time, distance, and fitness goals, even if you've tried to train before and haven't been able to stick with it. I've been working with endurance runners and triathletes for years as a massage therapist, and I'm an instructor for Run Right, where I teach running form clinics for runners and continuing education courses for personal trainers and coaches who want to work with runners. I've got some great information for you today, so feel free to drop your questions in the comments below or just leave a comment and let me know who you are and where you're listening from. So we all know that cardio is a really important part of staying in shape. But I was reminded today as I went for my morning trail run that functional strength training is also really vital. And that's not only just for overall health and day-to-day activities, but it's also a really important part in keeping myself able to run without injury. So I live in Boulder and I usually love to run on the CU South campus. It's a nice easy warm-up distance from my house, and so it's a great place for me to run because I can get there before my lazy brain figures out what's going on and suggests, oh, I have better things to do today, or I don't feel like running anyway. There isn't a whole lot of elevation change on the South Campus, which I actually do like running hills, strangely enough, but it's a pretty rocky trail, and I really appreciate that because it actually uses all the little muscles in my feet and ankles instead of just the ones that bring your foot up and down, the dorsiflexion and the plantar flexion. But last week, when I started my run there, I felt my left ankle trying to roll. Every time I stepped on a rock at a certain angle, my ankle just didn't feel stable, and I was having to really concentrate to keep it from going too far. I felt like I was really likely to twist my ankle if I kept going, so after 5 or 10 minutes, I decided to just turn back after I nearly hurt myself several times. And so for the rest of that week, I ended up just running on pavement or on bike paths because there isn't nearly as much risk of twisting an ankle. So the first step, if you have weakness or imbalance in your muscles, don't try to overdo it or just push through it. If your body doesn't like the run that you had planned today and you think you're going to get injured, it can be a lot better to change the plan and find something that works better for where you are right now. That's not just an excuse to be lazy. Part of the process of running is learning when to listen to the pain or fatigue or soreness, and when it's okay to actually just push through it, because sometimes that is just what you need. Now, if you're like me, you probably have to overdo it a couple of times and end up having to take a longer, several week, or once I had to take 3 months off to heal up. But I really don't recommend that method if you can avoid it. It's definitely better to get medical advice or to work with a coach if you're not sure how to handle what your body is experiencing when you run. But definitely feel free to adapt your workouts to something that your body can handle if you're unsure. That's way better than getting an injury. So anyway, I went ahead and did that. I just did the pavement running, and then this morning again I decided to tackle CU South again. I had the same problem with my ankle. There's this constant optimism I have that problems are just going to go away on their own, but for some reason they don't. So after having given my ankle a week to rest, I know that I need to do something different at this point. It wasn't just an overuse or a strain thing, it's actually a weakness in my ankle muscles. So I was able to do my 2-mile run. I just focused on where I was stepping and what my ankle was doing to make sure that I didn't twist it. But my plan for this week is to go back to road running for the rest of the week, and then in between focusing on some functional strength training. So by functional strength training, I mean more than just lifting weights, although that's definitely important too. So for runners, functional strength means making sure that all the muscles in your feet, legs, hips, core, and low back are able to work together and each pull their weight in the process of running. It can be easy to neglect the functional training because you do kind of assume that as you run, the muscles you use will just get stronger. That makes sense, it's logical, and it's partly true. But if you start off with one muscle or a muscle group that's already weaker or that's not functioning properly, then the other muscles will step up to compensate because your body is flexible like that. And that's great and necessary in the short term. But when you're doing a repetitive exercise like running, and you're doing it week after week, then that can actually cause greater imbalances as you go. So injuries like hip bursitis or runner's knee can indicate to you that your muscles are out of balance, and that's where the functional part comes in. You need to strengthen the muscles that you use so that you can do the daily function of running better. So my plan for this week is to do a lot of ankle strengthening exercises. Along with keeping on running, in this case, since I don't have an injury that will get worse with use, I can still run. But I'll be doing a lot of ankle exercises like calf raises and writing the alphabet with my foot to get that full range of motion in my ankles. So it is a good idea just to make sure that you're strengthening your feet, legs, hips, core, and low back just on principle, day to day, fit that into your running routine. But if you're coming up with any issues, you probably do need to get a plan for which specific muscles to strengthen to bring balance back into your body. For instance, I know just because of some of the patterns that I see that my right glutes are a lot weaker than my left glutes, and so I will do more exercises on the right side. I'll still do some on the left just to make sure that those are functioning and firing properly, but I'll do more for the right side. And so if you are noticing patterns, areas where you're prone to getting injured, it's a good idea to consult with a physical therapist or coach or someone who can help you develop a game plan for which specific exercises to do for specific muscles so that you can bring that balance back. So as you run, as you're getting into a routine, make sure to pay attention to how you're running, what you're experiencing, where you're feeling pain, where you're feeling weakness. If something feels wrong, it probably is. So it's a good idea to back off and switch to something else for a while until you get the chance to address the underlying problem. As part of my day-to-day warm-up, I definitely do some strengthening exercises. Like I said, I'll do more on my more injury-prone areas, the areas where I know that I have a weakness. So for me, that would be the right glutes and now the ankles. But you want to get something in for all of the feet, legs, hips, core, and low back, which all play into running. If you're just getting into running and looking for more resources and information to help you stick with it, check out the Transform Your Fitness 5-Day Running Challenge. It goes from March 13th to March 17th, and then after that there will be 5 days of bonuses with some extra running challenges after that. This will be a great way to help you kickstart your running for the spring and get into a routine. During the challenge, I'll be doing daily Facebook Lives with some great information to help you amp up your running. This challenge is specifically for new runners who are trying to establish a sustainable routine, and the goal is really to help you develop something that you can stick with and learn to enjoy running. So I would love to have you there. This is a completely free event, so I'm going to post the link below, and I hope to see you there.